And I've got sunscreen if it ever breaks through, so if you need any of that stuff, just let me know.
I can take everything that fits.
Yeah.
Lung disease is cool.
Yeah, there's a couple of them around.
What's that?
Yeah, Mike.
Already got a bitten by everything.
Anyone for natural?
What's that?
There's a couple cans of the DEET going around, and then a natural variety.
Geez, I could use DEET in that.
Yeah, you need to
Good double dose.
just stand down right here.
Yeah.
I used to get the DEET.
Anybody else need bug spray? All right. Put it down by the wheel and maybe I'll figure it out.
Gonna be an analogy.
You good? Anyone else?
Oh my.
Okay, we got everybody. Might as well start here with a little bit of a spiel and then we'll go look at some rocks. But first off, I'd like to start with the idea of the Illinois Basin. Overall, generally, it's really, during the Paleozoic, it wasn't a basin. Because in northern Illinois, this is the LaSalle Anticline here, Sandwich Fault, so you're way up north in northern Illinois over here. You can see that units are pinching out as you go north and they thicken as you come south. And we're down around this area where the hills are, and this is Pennsylvanian age, which we'll be looking at here, the Tradewater Formation, where all the hills, the Shawnee Hills are. You can see that it's thicker here than it is up there. So if this is truly a basin, it should thin again in this direction. Well, it doesn't. It was a part of a much larger system, and a lot of you guys probably know this, but the ones that don't, the Illinois was connected to probably Michigan at various times through the Paleozoic, the Dunkard and Ohio, over the Finley Arch, down. In fact, the southern part of this ancient basin, which wasn't Illinois at the time, it was this mid-continental basin, would be the Black Warrior Basin down in Alabama. So this is just an embayed area that happened to receive sediment, and it was structurally closed then. That's what this is all popped up, structurally closed. About the end of the Permian, right around the early Mesozoic, called the Pascola Arch. And that's what we're gonna be looking at today, is this all of these basically windows down into the Illinois Basin, because everything has been popped up, and we're going to be along one of the escarpments. There's a number of escarpments as you go toward the south. This happens to go through Hicks Dome, so you get that little pop-up. Hicks Dome is a cryptovolcanic structure that we have here that ripped up from the upper mantle, and we have peridiotites in southern Illinois. Really bizarre having Permian age igneous rocks in Illinois, but they're here. People don't believe it until they see it. But it's true. It's true. Any questions so far about anything? I like the there we go. There's Hicks Dome.
Oh.
In fact, I do have a map of this, a part of it that I worked on with Brett Denny. Where in fact this looks like maybe the new map, right? Is that the new one, or is it? Yeah, that looks like it's got the mines on it. So this is Brett's new map. It's of course much bigger. This has been struck down, but there's Hicks Dome right there, and it's got Permian intrusives around it, and also dikes that are radiating from it. You know, so anyway, and we'll be just north of that at the end of the day at Garden of the Gods.
Oh. Right.
Okay. Now, for this site right here, this is the map that we're on. It was done by Brian Trask and Russ Jacobson. It's the Creel Springs Quadrangle. Here's the stratigraphy. We'll be right about here in this, we'll be right about here in the Cedar Creek sandstone lentils. These are deltaics, and so we'll be looking at paralic rocks here. That means we're going to be right there in the transition from marine to non-marine, estuarine type environments, maybe some fluvial. And maybe I shouldn't tell you everything. You guys can tell me. I do like to run it informal. I like to hear questions, answers, or if you don't think I know what I'm talking about, let me know, and I'll probably agree with you. Anyway, what one guy told me today when I got coffee at Kroger, I got some coffee. I like Starbucks, so I went in there and he says, "Oh, you're going to go?" And I said, "Yeah, there's like 40 geologists." He says, "Oh, that means there's 40 different opinions." And I'm like, "Yeah, probably. But anyway, so yeah, Tunnel Hill is this tunnel here that was owned by Norfolk Southern back in the day, and it was given to DNR, Illinois, and it's right here, Tunnel Hill. And again, this is a trade water. In fact, on this map, it's called, I think, Abbott, or yeah, the Abbott Formation. That was an old name. Costello was right above it. No, Spoon. Sorry, Spoon. But anyway, that's what the students always say. Well, what's above the Abbott? Well, Costello. Yeah. Dumbasses. But anyway, students are students, right?
That's why the Abbott is flattened.
All right. Any questions about? Yeah.
You mentioned Headstone. Are they doing any fluoride mining?
Actually, with our renewed mapping, Brett Denny spearheaded that. With our new renewed mapping, there is some possibilities. There actually is some stuff in the Tulu Arch. That's an extension of it that goes farther south in Kentucky. There is a mine that Don Hasty's trying to put in, but he had a not so good engineer, and they're having real problems because it's not the kind you want. The type of fluorite you want to get is the bedding replacement, where it gets along in a carbonate and really goes. This is just pretty much, I think, a vertical vein that's like 35 feet across. So it's very difficult to mine, and so he's having problems with it. But there's also another person that's kind of anonymous that Brett and I have helped out because he's still trying to develop an area where he thinks he may have fluorite. I know we walked across a creek that had a tremendous amount of barite in it, and a lot of times that's on the periphery. So it's possible because of the price of fluorite has gone up to maybe, I don't know, $300 or $400 a ton. It used to be like down to like 20 or 30 or something like that.
Wow. So it's economic to...
it is economic, and so people are starting to look at it again. But the important thing, the thing that Brett's really interested in is the rare earths now. Because he has found some rare earths, cinchasite and some other carbonates that attach to the carbonates. So that's real interesting to some people, because of vehicles like this that needs batteries, So
Which way was the Pennsylvania shoreline?
Okay, the ancient Pennsylvanian shoreline, of course, that varied through time, but what we had at this time, probably conduits. So if you have a lot, especially where we're at in the trade water here, you had deltas, and so it'd be north-south conduits, which would be like, this might be an estuary right here, a very tidal flat-like look to it. Very dirty, and so very corrugated at this time. At other times, it would just pretty much rim the basin, go in, and it would totally flood. A very, very shallow type of setting. So yeah. Any other questions?
What are we seeing there in the structure?
This here, this is the New Burnside anticline that comes right across here, and in fact we get a little bit of the syncline where we're at, but you don't really see too much. You see a little bit of structure in here, but not too much.
So what's the age of the structure there?
The age of this structure, I think, was sometime probably Permian. Late Carboniferous. All right. What we'll do is we'll walk down and take a look at some rocks. How about that?
All right.
Those hard drive magnets.
Huh?
Are those hard drive magnets?
Probably. They're very tough.
Neodymium. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. They're
Oh, you gotta scratch your car paint to get them
all
off.
right. It's not my car, it's Brett's. Yeah, I said, hey, can I borrow your car? So the scratches, it's like, that's Brett's. He checked it out. And pyrite, so stinky stuff. It was pretty much in an estuary. And estuarine, a lot of time environments will have this almost a tidal imprint here. In fact, I don't know if you guys know Eric Kowali or Al Archer.
Yeah.
Ring bells.
You bet.
Those guys were here, and Eric said, yeah, I sort of see a signature in here, a tidal signature. And so the sedimentology, pretty much, when you have something this flat, this laminated, like right here, see these nice, real thin little laminations? The tides come in, the tides go out, they get quiet, and they separate. And so you have this nice laminated, feature, I guess, for lack of better words. Also, there's a few trace fossils in here, but the animals really didn't like it too much. Pretty nasty environment, stagnant at times, and then of course the sea would come in, sea would go out. And again, it wouldn't be the sea as I don't think it's like it would be more like in between holomarine and fresh water, so it would be a brackish situation.
Yeah.
You know, so, but there are a few nondescript horizontal burrows in this stuff. But anyway, you know, this is pretty much an estuary. So there was probably a fairly large conduit at one time that the sea was coming in and out, fluctuating. And you get some pretty good periodicity. And some of the rocks, especially in the trade water, we get some really nice neap spring cycles, and you can really see that it's very convincing. Here it's not as convincing. There's probably other things going on. But it was high in organics. Of course, you weren't too far away from some of the swamps in the area, because there are coal mines in this area. Just below this, there's the Reynoldsburg coal, and I think we're actually even above the Bell here, which would be down in Kentucky, the Bell coal.
What organisms do they find in this?
What's that?
What organisms?
Organisms? I would say, looking at the burrows, it's mainly polychaete, worms, that sort of thing. Pretty much that's it. You know, I haven't found anything that looked more marine. Now, when we go through the tunnel, we'll get into a completely different unit, because the regional dip here is about 2 or 3 degrees to the north. By the time we get to the other side of the tunnel, we'll see a fluvial environment pop in real quick. In fact, some people originally thought that there was a fault here, but it really is. It's just dip. Regional dip. It's amazing. It's amazing what 2 or 3 degrees will do over a little bit of distance. It's amazing. In fact, you'll see these laminated rocks above that fluvial sandstone here. Any other questions?
How thick is this unit?
How thick is this unit? It varies. I think in this area it's probably 40 to 60 feet thick, this particular one. And of course it's just sort of put together with the trade water, which is a couple hundred feet.
Any idea of TOC here?
No, that's a good question though. That would be, it's loaded with carbon.
Yeah.
You can see.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
Looking at it.
this dark gray, you know, very shaly dark gray. The difference between the trade water and the Caseyville, which we will see the Caseyville at the next stop when we go up to the top of the Millstone Bluff, is this is a lot more clay rich. It has a lot more mica in it. In fact, the Caseyville has no mica in it. Very, very rarely will you see mica in the Caseyville. And plus the Caseyville will have those nice quartz pebbles, those nice rounded milky white quartz pebbles, those vein quartz, you know, from the mountain ranges to the east. But so there's some really big differences between the trade water and the Caseyville.
So you don't think that's a basic depositional thing? You think it's actually a structural change in the fluvial environment?
No, I don't think it's structural. I think it is facies.
Okay, so it's facies, then we have transgression, so we see this continue over top of us. Exactly.
Right. Yeah, in fact, this here would be more marine, and then of course the sea leaves. When below us, you'll see it's a fluvial environment. We'll walk right into a fluvial. So we're getting some used to see here some bobbies. Very common. All of the Chester, it's limestone, sandstone, limestone, sandstone. I mean, 100 names, like, you know, not quite 100, but you know, same thing. And you get the same thing when right at the Subobsorica, you had a big retreat for about 2 million years of the seaway, and then the Caseyville comes in. A very early Pennsylvanian, Marlin or Westphalian A, Middle Westphalian A or so, and so then the sea comes back in, but you have this big hiatus, in which we'll be seeing that. We'll be sort of bouncing back and forth across that today.
What was the source of the grains for the sediment by mica?
Okay, the mica is probably coming from the unroofing of the mountains, probably to the east of us, and also possibly even the Canadian Shield, but I think more to the east, the Appalachians. Yeah, I think so.
A couple little spheres.
A lot closer.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Could be.
Right.
Could be palm.
All right, let's go through the tunnel.
You know, large.
You can see the light at the end of the tunnel, so that's good. That's good.
This is so popular with the bikers.
It looks like I see a couple of other darker crystals like right there.
Right above, you will see the laminated sediments way up above, which we just basically saw back there. And so again, the dip 2 or 3 degrees through the tunnel will get you into a completely different environment, and we're going older and older in time as we go south. Any cuts in southern Illinois as you go south, it's pretty much like a drill hole. You're going down section. Okay? But yeah, this is, and there's some small offsets here, but they're very, very minor. And in fact, some could be, looks like there might be iron. Pretty much, yeah, there you go, some fractures right there. And this is why originally they thought maybe there was, you know, a larger fault here, but then it's not. We've mapped the whole area. Well, Russ did, and Russ Jacobson did, and there is no fault in this vicinity. There are faults in the area, but not here. So this is just a nice, simple, you know, basically we're going down dip or down section. All right.
Traffic.
Runners. Make room. Just watch out. A couple guys in the back that are biting. Watch those guys. Oh yeah, you can see real nice cross. We'll get down some serious people. This is a pretty massive building here too. So this is definitely basically land. You know, we're in a terrestrial situation now. So the estuarine environment gave way back to the, you know, basically the sea dropping, and then you get the fluvial rocks coming in. Yeah, you can see the cross bed. Really nice, low angle. Yeah. In fact, this would probably be a parasequence boundary right here. You can see the crossbeds on top, and all of a sudden this stuff is pretty flat.
Yeah.
So we've definitely got a contact there between one type of environment and yet another one again as we go down section. Because this is very, very flat. Again, when it starts to flatten out, you start thinking about seaways, because, you know, tidal flats, what they call them flat. A lot of the beds are very, very flat. Plus, if you break into some of that, you will see trace fossils. See if you can see some out here. And then, of course, we go into a nice abrupt shale too. This was by the railroad back in early. Yeah, that's when it was actually put in, but it started much earlier. But, this here was for railroad, and they would haul.
Bicycle coming through.
Was one of the things, but they hauled people too. It was the Norfolk Southern Railroad. You guys can collect here because you can find trace fossils, especially in this pretty much, yeah, fairly fine-grained micaceous, and it's got trace fossils in it. Marine, or I should say transitional marine. You look around, you might find there's some right there. Plug-like things, yeah. Yeah, those are small Roselia. These are plug-like burrowing sea anemone type things. Right here. Key word being sea anemone. Yeah. Slide it through it. Oh yeah, there you go. Probably Canossicus.
Once they're down there at the bottom.
Canossicus is a burrowing sea anemone. So yeah, we are finding trace fossils, marine influence, and again, very flat, and then you're going into a nice shale, which is also transitional marine peralic with trace fossils in it as well. But you can collect here and knock into the rocks. It's pretty well burrowed. Some of these are so burrowed that they you can't tell what's. Yeah, that's probably part of a plug-like Canossicus right there. Sitting down. What's neat about Canossicus is it's cone-shaped, so it's really good geopedal structure to tell you which way's up, you know, if you're in core, especially if you've got overturned beds, because it always points downward. Or if the driller mixes up the core, that's usually how it happens in Illinois, because we only have one spot that I've mapped that has overturned beds. Illinois, that's a crazy place where there's a flower structure. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I brought Marshak down. He couldn't believe he was in the mid-continent. He's like, Steve was like, I can't believe this is the mid-continent. Overturned beds, you know.
Is that what there at the bottom of the final? Is that a shale or what?
Yeah, that's a shale coming in, right?
Yeah, that's a shale.
We're going to go through it as we go down. We're going to go down sections.
Okay, so is that
The crumbly stuff.
No, that's actually in a completely different area. It's along the St. Genevieve Fault Zone.
west?
Yeah, St. Genevieve Fault Zone. There's some big offsets there. Big high-angle reverse, which made some, really made some strange things. And then it got basically transpressure, it wrenched.
Yeah.
What's that?
So what on the map are you?
Well, right here, this is,
No, this flower.
yeah, the flower structure would be over here, yeah. But anyway, let's head down farther.
You're looking here for
Yes, yeah, we're going to see it right over
Is that
here.
in Bowling Green?
No, I'm in Chicago. Yeah.
Pretty much have stuff all riddled all through it. Astrosoma, Canossicus, all kinds of traces. Again, really helped us with the environmental interpretation. In fact, here's one that's loaded. Yeah, it looks like there's right there, one, another one, all through there. It's pretty much shot through. Huh? Break. No, you can see all the traces all through it. It's just riddled. And you can see it's churned for the organics. Yeah.
Joe, what are we looking at there for those of us who walked up a little later?
Oh, okay. What we're looking at pretty much is offshore sands now, which was really, really nice, is the trace fossils really helped us with, this is marine, okay? You've got a very large variety of trace fossils here, from worms to burrowing sea anemones to possibly even, I would say even maybe trilobite trails and such. And This would have a title signature, but it's so churned with burrows, and you can see it's pretty high in organics, so they were having a good time pretty much with the organics. I mean, that's just riddled with burrows, you know, all through there. Go ahead and step up, don't be shy, and all along here you can find stuff. In fact, if you find anything like a cone-like shape, that is a conosticus that's actually popped out. And it's all along here, you can probably see it. And just a little go-go right now. Sometimes we get a nice cross-section. View of conosticus. Like right there. Yeah. Yeah, I think that right there at the cross section, put my. Oh, I just broke it. Oh well, that's the way it goes. It was like a half of one, but you'll see little worms coming out of it, that sort of thing. What that is it's the astrosoma, and here's another one. You can see it's cone-like right here. It's really kind of hard to see, but once you get a good one, you can really see it. And at the bottom of the pad of these conosticas is a 12-part symmetry, so it looks like a little flower at the bottom. That's the way you can tell it's real. If someone might find one, we'll see. So, you can have at it and look around.
Chunk of mud to me. What are you looking at? I'm
Biodegrated mud.
Where is it?
Where's the flower?
No fossil.
I think that was.
Oh, it looks like a rose.
Well, you can see even sulfur. So this is yellow boy, some sulfur.
Hey Joe, there's a cone-shaped stuff here.
It's possible, yeah. Pyrite, sure. What's that?
That's perfect.
Is this the cone-shaped stuff here?
I think so. Let me see here.
It's clean, yeah.
Here.
You're taking that
Right
back.
here?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very possible, but again, we're looking at a bird's eye view. It's good to see it in cross-section.
Yeah.
But there's a number of sites, though, we could correlate then, basically from area to area that was marine in these sands, because we don't have the limestone to be able to correlate. So this really helped us with our mapping. So that's something that you should really pay attention to is the trace fossils, especially when you get a good assemblage. Whoa, watch that rock. When you get a good assemblage and that assemblage holds up, you can trace it for quite a while. So it will really help you, especially when you're dealing with deltaics and transitional environments. Very tough because things pinch and swell, pinch out, go away. This sandstone back here is called Cedar Creek Sandstone Lentil. Lentil means it's gone in a little ways. So those aren't so hot. And but when you get these marine incursions, you can trace them quite a while, quite a ways. And in fact, this isn't too far above the Reynoldsburg coal, which is down below. And what's usually above a coal in a swamp when the sea comes in? Limestone. Very, very common in the cyclothermic idea.
I teach it all.
So how is the lens?
What's that?
We live right on Gallup.
No. It's way below the Murfreesboro. The Murfreesboro would be up section about 450 feet or so. Up section, Murfreesboro. We're way below the Murfreesboro here. Reynoldsburg is almost near the boundary with the Casey.
I went to that.
Murfreesboro will be in which formation?
Murfreesboro is in the Carbondale.
Do you?
Oh no, I'm sorry. It's not in the Carbondale. It's in
EAS
the
100,
upper
section
trade
51
water.
in
So
the
it'd be the upper part of this.
This I was confused.
And then he'll transfer the NIU.
Right.
That's what he wants.
Okay.
No. Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania. Yeah.
A little
Yeah.
rough end of the year.
And another question?
Yeah, how does what's the environment and deposition for the lentil as opposed to the tidal area?
Okay. Well, this here would be underwater. This is because this is a marine, and it might be exposed once in a while, but typically very shallow marine
dive in yesterday?
environment. This pro deltaic
I went
Okay,
to
that
college
would be
with
up on
Marty
the
in
delta,
Penn-
or that's fluvial. That's definitely fluvial.
He's
So
in,
the lentils
he's,
are
he's in
definitely
Hyde Park.
fluvial?
Fluvial,
But I
yeah.
haven't seen him since I followed
Because
him
they're like
25 years ago.
shoestrings, because they only go
This is a
so
nice
far
conversation
laterally.
probably on the way
Yeah.
home.
Yes.
And so
You guys came in today,
pretty
or-
much have
He
mud
came in last night.
banks on the side,
It took me
shales.
3 hours to get down.
Question?
How does this match up with the Mason Creek? You said that these moved for Pennsylvania.
Lost
Oh,
more.
yeah,
From
the,
Smoky to
the
Flossmoor.
Mazon Creek is Francis Creek Shale,
Right.
and that would be above the number 2 coal. So that would be above the Colchester. Again, that would be Carbondale, and that would be way up.
Yeah.
I can see you guys are enthralled with trace fossils. But hey, they would help you. You
Yeah.
guys see trace fossils over in Ohio?
Sure do.
Yeah. Those are the things you got to pay attention to.
Right.
That's what we did. I worked on them. In fact, I have a little story here. Get me started on stories. When I first started mapping in 1985 with the survey, they said all these lower sands were all fluvial and we're going to have very low sulfur coals. First day I was out, I found a canostomus. And I'm going, in this stuff, and I'm going, this is a sea anemone. You got a real problem here. Sure enough, any coals that we did find was very high in sulfur. And of course then, with help, because my boss at the time, Heinz Damberger, didn't believe in trace fossils. He think, well, how do you really know that smudge is really something? Because you looked at this stuff, it doesn't look like much. Sometimes it really can, though. You can really get some really nicely preserved things. But he still didn't really totally buy it. But then Eric Qualley and Al Archer came into the fray, and then they started seeing the title signatures, and then well, the kicker is I found goniatites in some of the deeper conduits, the deeper estuarine environments. I found goniatites. Goniatites are basically ammonoids, so they're marine. They're not non-marine. So that pretty much he shut up then. So Heinz was able to actually shut up. All right. Any other questions? If not, we'll head over to Millstone Bluff, and I think we might be able to pull off that optional stop too. I think so, because that's really neat, that washout. To see that. So yeah. Any other questions? If there are no more, yeah. You have a, oh yeah, an Iona. That's great. That was one of the pictures that is in your guidebook. It's Iona. It's basically a worm. For just be nice and instead of scientific, I'll say it's just a turd. It's going through, eating the sediments and crapping it out, and you see the real nice peristaltic movement of the gut.
So Joe,
Elementary
do you
canal.
have a good trace fossil reference that you would share with everybody?
A good trace fossil reference. There's a book out now by Louis Butoy, and I think it was maybe last year or the year before. And also Adolf Stylacker wrote a book too. Both of those. Adolf Stylacker, fairly recent too. We're talking right before he died actually. He got, and Adolf is one of the big names. He made some mistakes like we all do, but then, straightened things out. But he's really good, Adolf Stylacker. But Louis Butoy is exceptional. He's actually worked in Kansas a little bit. He was from Brazil, and now he's working for the Canadian Survey. I don't like hard to keep track of those guys.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. All right, well, let's head back to the vehicles, and we'll go to the next stop. I've drilled it up to 80 feet thick. So, and that's one that can have some pretty nice fossils in there. I found a trilobite, a proeted trilobite about an inch long. They weren't very big in those days, but you can find trilobites at the other side. You can find them here too, actually. I know Marie France Dufour, who worked for us, we ran a big field trip here, and she found a trilobite here, a real little one, a Mississippian one. So, so this all of this high rock here, that's pretty much been pushed up. So someone asked if this was just due to erosion. This is actually due to that Pascola Arch and the docking of South America back during the formation of Pangea. And so this is the bulge that we got a little bit. And of course, this thing goes all the way down into, I've been down into Tennessee, and you can see the Pascola influences down in Tennessee. And of course, we had a tremendous amount of erosion due to the rift that comes through here as well. So the rift kind of can reactivate and took out a lot of that Pascola arch, because now we have what, the Paducah Basin down here, I think they call it, Jim, down in Kentucky, which is another low where the Gulf of Mexico was up into southern Illinois right here about 60 million years ago or so, 65, 70 million years, right through here. So
Joe, where was the limit of glacial erosion? Can you point that out?
pretty much right here.
Okay.
Right here, where everything seems to be pretty flat. That's where the Illinois glaciation was 100,000 years ago.
Okay.
Wisconsin was way up here. That's probably, I don't even know if that's Wisconsin. I think it might be farther up than this. That's probably one of the receding moraines.
So there weren't any glaciations down as far as the Ohio River then?
Yeah, no way. The only thing that this area received was a lot of water.
Sure.
A lot of water. That's what did a lot of the erosion.
Okay.
And we were talking about maybe removal, and I have no idea, a couple of 100 feet, 100 feet, I don't know what kind of removal, because we're talking about millions and millions of years. Because this was probably high during the Cretaceous. So there may have been Permian rocks here. We do have them over in Kentucky.
In Kentucky.
Yeah, right over in here. In fact, I think we've drilled some maybe in Illinois too. Well, we have Permian rocks that's igneous, but that came up to meet us, you know. The sedimentary rocks.
Came up to meet us.
Yeah. And so far, no diamonds, by the way.
Hey.
Because that is a pipe, you know.
Ah.
Yeah, that is a pipe.
Yeah. Tight pipe.
But we found garnets in it when we've been looking and mapping this area. We found garnets, yellow ones and red ones, but no.
Wow, garnets in Illinois.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, but no purple, no pyropes, purple pyropes. That's the high chrome, low calcium diamond. That's a key for, if you find those, you got diamonds. But we have not. We have not. We're the other way around. We're high calcium, low chrome. So I think we're in a. But it's still possible to. We just got a call from Gary Vansel, who's the senior geologist of American Coal, and they hit another dike out in this region right over in here. They hit another dike, and so we're still hopeful that we may find something interesting in those dikes. Huh?
Another chance.
Yeah, another chance. Right.
Are there any dikes at the surface that we could schedule another field trip to go to?
Yeah, there are.
Couple, you know, the wineries?
Yeah,
Each of them have a dike.
Yeah, right.
Sounds like a good field trip.
Yeah. Yeah.
You hit the dike and go to the next one.
Right. I think we're actually, Brett Denny is going to run one for the GSA, North Central GSA in 16. I think we are going to run an igneous trip at Hicks Dome, and and I don't know if you'll get permission, because the problem with some of these dikes is they're on private property, and you have to get permission and stuff. But anyway, yeah, they're pretty neat rocks. They're green, I mean, that's
green.
Peridotite. But basically altered to serpentine, though. A lot of water is really messed with, But let me show you where you're at now. Besides stratigraphically, let me show you.
You mentioned altered to serpentine.
Yeah.
Is it lizardite or?
That I couldn't tell you. It's just a type of serpentine. I don't think it's like carvable or anything. It's
No fossils in it. He doesn't care.
yeah.
Yeah.
You got it. See, she understands.
No serpents in the serpentine.
Oh, this is a different map. Sorry. Gotta get one more.
Argon? No, I don't. I know a couple people at Argon, but I don't know him. Okay.
One more.
Maybe we're related.
Good question.
I phoned you.
Ooh.
Their whole life. We're all looking Good job, Lee.
I gotta start over, right?
Oh, weird. We're just really close.
Yeah, they are. Okay, you're geologists. Where are we?
Yeah.
Right there.
Point it out.
Right there.
We're in the pink, and that little knob right there is what we're going to go up and see on top.
okay.
That's Caseyville. That'll be that nice, clean, poorly sorted quartz arenite with those nice milky white quartz pebbles in it with no mica and no clay, very little clay. And then this is all carbonate. That's the Kincaid limestone, which is the uppermost Chesterian limestone in the basin here. And then there is a shale that it does occur above it, but a lot of times it comes and goes. And in fact, there's about, well, in fact, right here, there's an old paleo valley. This is interesting. I told you about the goniatites. This is a paleo valley. You can see that limestone, the pink is gone right here because it's cut out by this paleo valley. It's a Pennsylvanian paleo valley. You go up this paleo valley, and that's where I found my goniatites, up section. But within between the Battery Rock and the Pounds, so it was like in this interval, up in here is where I found the goniatites in about an 80-foot thick black shale, and then I drilled it and got more detail yet.
What genus do you remember?
Oh, well, this is great. I'm glad you're here, man. It's a good question because Axolobus modulus is found in Texas, is found in Europe, so we were able to go Middle Westphalian A. And here's the other thing. This is what I think is really cool. Is besides the Axolobus modulus, we have spores coming in because it is, so off to the side we had swamps. About 49 different kinds of spores. So we cross-index Middle Westphalian A goniatites with land-based spores. So that was really, it gave me goosebumps.
Yeah, I mean,
I get paleogasms really easily. People think I'm nuts, but it's just amazing.
I understand.
Yeah. You guys understand this. Yeah. You know what paleogasms are.
Do you know what that old river valley was? What river system?
What river system doesn't really have a name, I don't think. There were other names given, like in Kentucky, they have some names for some of them.
Right.
I know Steve Grabb would know. He named them, maybe. I don't know it, but this particular one, I don't think has a name as such. So but it's real because the limestone was totally gone here, and you're down into the sandstone below. Right. So it's really cool. And I had quartz pebbles all the way down to the bottom of it. Some nice quartz pebbles. So conglomerate, quartz pebble conglomerate.
So in that location, a younger formation should be much thicker.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. This should go right through here, but this is cutting it out. And as you go down, as I said, as you go down this railroad track, you're going, pretty much everything is dipping back to the north. So limestone, that's the Kincaid, then the sandstone, which is the Dagonia, then the Chlor, and then the Palestine, and then the Menard, and you just keep going. Here's the Menard right here, and there's another Cuesta or another escarpment right here, and then you just keep going, stair-stepping down the Chester right through here, all the way down to about the Hardensburg sandstone. So this is fun to map. And then of course here you get a reoccurrence of this mustard color, the Caseyville, and that's a downdrop graben. This is the Lusk Creek fault zone, and and in fact there was even some fluorite found in along some of these areas. Right in here they drilled and they found fluorite, barite mineralization along some of these faults, which you get a lot of Mississippi River Valley type, MVT type deposits and minerals.
So you had mentioned the buried valleys. How many of them are mapped up? And
Eric Wally did quite a few in Indiana when he was there. We have not gone back in yet to do that sort of thing. That's like paleo, looking at just paleo valleys and try to find them all and define them. But I have no idea how many there are at this point. But at some point, it'd be great for a master's thesis or, to start looking at these, because they are confined valleys. They're incised in some cases in limestone, and so that's good for oil. So if you can get some oil industry money, to look at these. And they do occur back into the basin. Steve Whitaker's talked about it with Dick Howard and those guys, and they've found a lot of oil in those confined valleys. I think they erode all the way down into the Glen Dean, which is it's in the lower part here. Glen Dean's right here. So So in this area, we don't get erosion that deep. We just get it down into the Begonia sandstone. So.
Do you find structural adjustments on the rock with the river valleys? You know,
Yeah.
for the creation, you've seen all that?
Yeah, you can see control. You're talking structural control. Oh yeah, we see that a lot. In fact, this Paleo Valley system is going northeast southwest. Look at there you are. And here's another one. The Tar Springs has some tidal channel thing, and they're going that same way. You can go over there. In fact, there's shale there, which eroded. Tar Springs sand, shale, sand, and you can see these things. They stick out really well.
Or drilled them, looked at any of the...
They've drilled them in the basin, sure, and found oil. Yeah, Tar Springs produces, a lot of these units, these sandstone units, the Chesterian. Most of them they've gone for most of it, but the Ovas is the newer one that they're still going after, and they're finding a lot of oil in it. Those are a little different though. They're going a different way. They're longshore bars, so they're way down. They're like 1,800 feet down.
Yeah, I know you got a lot of depth down there.
Yeah.
What's the structural age of this rift valley down here?
The structural age of it, well, it's polyphase, so it's many movements through time. It's as old as what, Precambrian? Some of the real foot, because this is from the real foot rift.
Yeah.
So Precambrian, Ordovician that moved. Well, kind of like, every time you get a mountain building elsewhere, like Taconic, Acadian, that's when these things seem to move. It's really cool. It's really cool that we're way in the continent, but yet we feel. We feel the shaking and the quaking. I better shut up. All right. So yeah, restroom as such as it is back in there. We can look around here. This is sort of a shaly, muddy Elviron carbonate, and there's a number of Elviron carbonates right here. These guys are all in Elviron carbonates right here. And then you go into Gasperian, but they're all very muddy, lagoonal, fairly near shore, platform carbonates, corals, very few trilobites, but they're around. Crinoids, in fact, Pterodocrinus is one that you can find here. It's a wing plate. Pterodo means wing. Pterodocrinus is a real interesting one because the wing plates change through all these units, and so we were able to tell the Grove Church from the Kincaid from the Menard. Like Menardensis is completely different than Pterodocrinus unicornis, which is up above this in the shale. So I had Tony Tabinski was a student that worked on that. In fact, now I'm looking for another student to work on the Gasperian and then farther down in the Genovevian.
We should ask all the students to raise their hands.
Yeah, there you go. If you like fossils,
We've got close to a dozen here.
Yeah. All right, good deal. So I guess you say that you got treats or something, and then plus you guys can walk around in here. We'll do this for about 15 minutes or so, and then we'll take a hike. Go up to see the petroglyphs and also see the sandstone above, which you're going back up in time into the Caseyville, which is on top there. Quarried. All right, back up on top, and we'll see the area. I don't think we'll go right to the quarries and such, because what it is they would look for a form that was close to save them some work, because it is layered, and so they were able to just kind of chip around and make these millstones, and that was maybe only a couple hundred years ago. The reason why we know when this is really quarried, there's no real information other than gravestones not too far from here carved out of this stuff. And I know an archaeologist that looked at that, and the death date, the oldest death date we've been able to find in the gravestone is 1810. Wow. So we know these were being mined at right around 1800. So, but then if you go farther back, about 1,000 years, you had pretty much Native Americans in the area, because this is sort of a sacred ground. This is high ground that sits. It's an outlier of Caseyville from the escarpment, and so it sits up on itself. As you came in, you could see it's just a small area, and on the geologic map you could see how it's down on every side. So it's a little teeny teat-like structure. Sorry.
Right. Nipple, whatever.
Yeah. Anyway, and then even before that, there was, because there's actually some archaeological sites up on top that, you know, you don't want to mess with, but they actually show where the council house and all these things were back about 1,000. And then you go earlier than that, I think there were groups in here that might have been 1,500 they've been able to document as far as these petroglyphs are concerned.
So I noticed a little Turdy zone in there.
Yeah.
So you think that was maybe
Yeah,
part of it also?
Actually down in a creek not too far from here, the unit below us, below our feet right here, it's called Nigley Creek. It's loaded with Kincaid chert, and that's what the archaeologists called fossiliferous Kincaid, has crinoids in it. And it is a chert that is knappable. Arrowheads, exactly, yeah. And so this is another area where they probably got a lot of their material for making arrowheads. So. Yeah. Cool. Any other questions before we take a hike? Yes.
What was the source of the silica for the chert?
The chert, okay, it's probably here. That's a great age-old question. What is chert? You know, and here it's probably sponge spicules, but there's also in areas in Illinois Basin, like where we have so much chert, it couldn't have been sponge spicules. Probably dust from deserts and that sort of thing, or volcanic. So there's all these origins, biogenic, and then just simple dust. If you've ever looked at dust storms coming off of Africa and from the desert and going out to sea, these huge plumes of dust, that's silica. And it goes into the ocean. The ocean has a high pH, so it mobilizes, turns to a gel, and you get chert. Yeah. Wonderful. And then, of course, there's bedded chert from microorganisms, siliceous microorganisms. You get that in deep sea deposits like radiolarians. Right? For instance, that's the rads are all made of glass.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that's how you get that. So, yeah, that's a real complicated question. But for here, I'm thinking sponge spicules. And sometimes you'll see they're kind of wormy. The nodules are sort of like wormy. Well, what it is on the seafloor, the sponges, you know, die, fall apart, and then they go into burrows. And so they'll infill burrows. And then because, again, the pH is such that it turns to a gel. And sometimes I've actually found sponge spicules within, when I do thin sections of chert, I'll see sponge spicules within it. So. Yeah. In fact, Yagoop worked on this. Yeah. This is his PhD stuff, where he even found evidence for evaporite in this stuff. So evaporitic. We have dolostones, dolomites, and that sort of thing. And I think he's found things like even maybe, I won't go that far if he's found halite, but he has found some things in thin sections. It's very interesting. So this is a very arid time when it was being deposited. This seaway was quite arid around. So there's a lot of climate fluctuation I think we have never really fully understood within the Chester, of dry, wet. And then it became a little more wet when we get into Pennsylvanian because swamps all over the place and coals. So. All right, no more questions. Let's take a hike. Just about. This is Caseyville. Sugary, sucrosic texture. Sugary. And then you can find pebbles in it. Cross-bedded, mainly fluvial deltaic. In this area anyway, and this would probably be the Battery Rock, the lower member, or even Wayside. But this is Marrowan, so this is the lowest Pennsylvanian that we have in the basin, and it's very quartz-rich, no clays, very, very different than the stuff you just saw at stop number 1. So pretty easy to map.
So where did the class come from?
The clasts, well, they were vein quartz, probably from the mountains as you go on up the Appalachians. Yeah, because the actual clasts get larger and larger as you go towards Virginia. So, you know, that's source. This is way.
How do you think they were carried?
Huge streams. Now, this covered the whole basin. There's huge deltas, and what it is, you know, I had a question at earlier on about where's the seaway at. Well, the seaway would have been south here. Soon as this the bed load of these rivers and deltas hit that, well, as soon as it hits that basal sea level, boom, drops its load. And so you get all the way across this escarpment. It's just all these ancient rivers coming together, making deltas right at the water's edge, or into the marine. And I think that would have been south of here a little bit, because I don't see any marine influence in this stuff. This was been up on the delta plain here. This is really fluvial looking stuff.
Giant bells.
Yeah, huge cross beds. Yeah, yeah. Okay, everybody got their breath? Mm-hmm. All right, we'll continue on up then.
Stairs.
Watch that limb there, it sort of fell on the trail. And that is a weathering phenomenon. It's not really been studied. Some people have even said that close to the seaway, you know, and this would be like the Cretaceous seaway now, that maybe a salt can do this, but I have my doubts about that. And some people have even claimed that it's biogenic. Birds peck holes, and you know, like the swallows, cave swallows and such. But I think it's just simply not very good cemented areas versus fairly well cemented with maybe iron. And but another thesis for some student, because no one really knows. I'm just throwing this stuff out. I'm guessing. So anyway. But you see this all the time in the Caseyville, more so than any of the other units, so it's interesting. Okay. Beautiful lateral big point bar. Oh, you know, he's retired now, so I can make fun of him.
So what are these called again?
Conosticus.
Conoscita.
Right here, Conosticus.
Conosticus?
Yeah, cone.
Professionally interpreted as a whole family of them.
Cone,
really?
cono, Conosticus, C-O-N-O, cone shape, and they were burrowing sea anemones. And again, this would be the transition from below the fluvial sands down into more of a marine sand lower. And this is out of place, of course, because for one, we'd have a big thrust fault in here, and this would be up, you know, everything's upside down according to that, because that's a geopedal structure, because it's pointing up like that. So, but yeah, the worm, we're looking at a worm's eye view into the rock. So take a look at that as you go by, and you'll see them. They're all through here. There's a whole colony of them, and they were pretty happy campers.
So if they're upside down, what happened? You get a chunk of clay that gets rolled in deposition?
Well, no, this here is upside down because I think it was put here, or maybe it did roll and then they used it in the road. I mean, I don't know, but there's slabs all over here. They're out of place. So but we are lower, so we are more in a marine environment, you know, right in this area.
Didn't I hear somebody say you came up and placed that on your trail before?
Yeah, that's, I'm pretty strong, aren't I? Lift that whole thing and bring it all the way up here. Well, I was looking up high and I'm like, oh my God, it's going down like this. Yeah.
Dave, right?
That's a little low.
Yeah, a little low.
I said it was an optional site. Because they figured if a bus, if we had a bus.
Jeff's got sunscreen if anybody needs any.
I
was way down there.
I was a little worried about my car.
Oh, you should hear where I was standing. Biggest thing.
Yeah, I did a little motor grader work.
Somewhere here, there may be some fish. I can smell them.
Down there, we're going to go there in a minute. Hammer.
The Northern Illinois contingent.
You never know when you can use it for embarrassing video later.
Right? Yeah. Blackmail.
I should probably just put my glasses on if it's sunny out.
Yeah, get one of those microfiber cloths.
Oh, don't worry. It's just
on my car seat close
these
to the
are
window. I'm just looking down like the old ones.
I was asleep.
Yeah.
you're getting burned.
Yeah, no. I put on
These are very regular.
Yes.
It's groundwater penetrated. Yep.
Isn't that the sign that it's on Usher's?
Yeah, right.
Iron bands.
We got everybody. Still a few stragglers. They will be thrown off the cliff. Boy. Well, back in about 2009, right around there, there was a couple of times where that lake back there, which is Millstone Lake, came up, and the earthen dam and the spillway on the other side of the earthen dam is right here. There's a little trail over it. And the spillway couldn't handle 1 foot of rain that fell in an hour. And there's a drainage basin that goes way back in there if you look at the geologic map that I have. And so all the water rushed across. This is the Goreville limestone, which is the upper limestone of the Kincaid, so it's upper Mississippian. And so it rushed across this, and used to be a road right there where there's a cliff that drops right off, which we're going to go over there, but no one get too close, so that's not that much, only a 30-foot drop. Probably just break legs and, you know, mess up your... What's that?
Better than the road that we drove on?
Yeah. Well, it's a lot quicker down that way.
That's why we brought it.
But yeah, so this is the Kincaid limestone, the uppermost member, the Goreville, and if you look around, you'll find very large, which looks like a fish back, but it's an Archimedes, huge corkscrew, and that's it's sort of a well-known fact that it's always only occurring in this unit. So we can really map this unit because of these really large Archimedes, which we might be able to point out here in a little bit. You got one? You got one? Cool, cool, cool. I knew someone would find it. Where's it at?
What is this?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there it is.
There's one of them right there.
Is that bryozoan?
That's a bryozoan. It's a fenestrate bryozoan, very lacy, and it wrapped around this spine. It's right here. And there's some even bigger ones I've found it in the Buncombe Quarry, where they're about like this big around, and they go, you know, a couple feet, maybe even a meter. They're very, very large, and so you know you're in that member, the Goreville member. And then right below the Goreville, you go into a shale unit called the Cave Hill, which we're going to see down below this. And then, of course, from here on up, we have the Grove Church Shale, which is the Mississippian that can have all the fossils in it. And those little nodules, there's little ironstone concretions, siderite concretions that have fossils in them. You can find maybe goniatites, maybe you can find trilobites, you can find conularids, which are these scyphozoan-like little creatures. You can find crinoids. You can find little teeny guys of these Archimedes, right? So, and then if we walk a little farther up, we'll go right into the sandstone, which is the basalmost Caseyville, which is up above in the pines there, but it's still there. You can see it. There's a road that kind of goes up there.
Find any plant remains in any of those?
The plant remains, yes, you do find some tree type remains and stuff in the sands. Yeah. So you know you go from, you know, sea level drops, you know, right in here, and then this stuff got deposited, and then you had 2 million years of erosion, and then boom, you go into the terrestrial, from marine to terrestrial, because that's totally marine there. It's nothing but marine fossils in it. So
good idea.
Very cool.
And also you can see great jointing in here, just fantastic jointing. And if you follow those joints, they open up into little caves down here. So eventually this thing probably will route its way through, and the lake is no more. And fish can be just picked up by the dozen.
For a couple days.
For a couple of days. I wouldn't, you know, wait too long. Get a little fishy. So let's go down to the bottom and work our way up, kind of thing. And then, of course, these are blast marks from a little bit of a quarry.
Hey, Joe.
Huh?
Do you guys need any
Chirp here, Joe.
Yeah, sure.
Lots of nodules.
Really neat worm burrows.
Professor always says that granite countertops are overrated. Have something interesting, like solid fossils.
And then that shale down below, if we were to go down, we probably don't want to go all the way down because it looks a little muddy down there. But that's the cave hill, remember, where you start getting into the shales. The green shales and the gray shales down below. So that's about as low as you get here in the section. Yeah, there's cave. There's cave.
There's a cave for Archimedes actually, because it's in this limestone, but it's close to Guyana.
Uh-huh.
Wow. Let him hit it. He wants to. You know, watch your eyes. It's going to shatter really hard.
That was fun.
I've got two, you can have one.
We go around and break shit.
Well, now you know why I broke your rock. He's not going to give you that. No matter what. No matter what. He's very mad that I'm
Very strong.
Right, Joe, there is a cave.
Yeah, there's caves all through here. There's one farther down, right below me actually.
There's the water's coming.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you can see the karst formation on all these. I mean, it's hourglass weathering, it's classic.
Collapse.
And what it is, it hits that shale, goes out, because that shale is impervious, and so corrodes right above the shale.
Pardon me?
Creating fluvials.
That's what I was saying.
It's like it's almost artistic.
You know what I mean? It's cool. I tell. We did a couple fly fishing trips down the Middle Fork River in Idaho, and it's in French.
Yeah, there's waterfalls all through here. Beautiful. Is that Lorenzo?
Camp and you have something like this, and then you get down there, it's pretty hot. It's geothermal.
Yes,
Oh yeah, that's why I told my son, I said, you know something, if I ever pass me around, this is where I'm going to get tested. There's a place that's it has like 7-foot canyon fall, and it's about mid-mountain, and it's an old bench or an erosional cut, okay? And then you got the cliff, so you're going to walk underneath there. You actually drive 4 buses underneath. Then this one down Sunflower State, but you're looking down a canyon like 10 miles. Look up, Larissa.
Oh,
natural thing. Nobody's around, so you know this thing's coming out of the woods.
Come here and they go there. Well, in fact, I was just in Arkansas not too long ago, and seeing their section of their grove church, which was pretty outstanding. They had about 400 feet of it, but that's where the big deep hole was. That's where, you know, it got really, really deep. So part of the basin back at the time.
Grove
Now we got
church.
horses over there.
Yeah. It's a nice, beautiful variety.
Then if you go up a little farther, you just go into the sandstone of the Caseyville. So you're right at the subapsorica boundary between the Mississippian and the Pennsylvanian. And just about 3 miles this way, this is all gone, as I said, in that Paleo Valley, and so is the limestone all gone. So there's about 120 to 130 foot of relief on that unconformity. Right in here, there's not that much relief on it. But we can, if you go up a little bit farther, you'll see the sandstone, and there's plant fossils in the sandstone.
I got a bush 21 times in.
Love that breeze.
I want it really.
You guys finding good stuff? Pyrite? Oh, okay. Someone was asked about pyrite. What we'll do.
Just set your wallets down first.
All right, this is the Garden of the Gods. It's in the Herod Quadrangle, and it's Caseyville. It's what you've been seeing various times today, and it's really thick in here, about 350 to 400 feet, Caseyville here. And that massive deltaic sand runs all the way to Eddyville, you know, through this area. So, and mainly it's just scenic, but when we get up close to near the place we're going to do the shot, you'll be able to see the Eagle Valley syncline as well, because the ridge on the other side is the same age, pops up. It's Caseyville on the other side, where Williams Hill is up to the north. So we're going to take a look at that. But so without any further ado, if there's no questions, we're going to take a little hike and go try to find a good spot to take a picture.
Hike, hike.
Hike, hike.
Hike, hike.
Easy, yeah, Maria didn't want to do it. Well, she's got bones first. No, she's got bones first.
So where from, Muhammad?
Yeah, she's got to get them fixed. That's for sure. But it's like anything. You can't put up
It's been really enjoyable. I know everyone else has enjoyed it, so thank you very much.
Great. Thank you. Thank you.
Hey.
We appreciate it.
All right. Well, time to take a pee.
Right where he left off.
Road trip.
So, Lucy, are they driving back this evening?
I am.